What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. And do you see what this is? Right here? Do you see it? Do you see it? It's gold! We found gold. Now, there's both good news and bad news to this. I know, shocking, right? I'm trying to find where it is. It's not real close. There it is. My gold node thing there. It's actually not too far to get to even by jetpack, because I kind of just coast with the moon atmosphere. You can coast pretty far. The problem is how much we're going to need, and I don't know how large the deposit is. For example, we need 200 of these. This is just to make one yield module, because see, the idea I had was at first it was, aha, we can make a jump drive thingy. But then I thought to myself, well, it may be better to upgrade the refineries here to use the high yields and then refine it, as people have recommended to me before for stuff like platinum. So then I looked up, well, how much do I need to make that? And I needed 200, which is awesome, because, yeah. So, the problem is that, like, 13 gold ingots or whatever, I think you need 133 to make 200 superconductors. Now, the problem with that math is that I also put about 1,000, or I guess it was 1.8 kilograms. I was thinking 1,000 because it had a K on it. But I think, I could be wrong. I never can figure out the measurements on here, if it's like K for 1,000 kilograms or is it K for kilograms? I think it's 1,000 kilograms, but I could be wrong. Mainly because I also have, I think, the inventory set to like a 10x or something just to make my life easier. So that could be part of it. I'm not sure. But I digress. The point is, we're going to need a lot of gold, and I barely found this, and I don't know how much is here. That's the short version. But you can see, it doesn't take too long to get over here just doing what I call jetpack hops, or jet leaps. I don't know. You can coin it however you want, I guess. But, so here is my little gold mine tunnel. And this game hates me, by the way, because the gold indicator keeps moving, or kept moving anyway. I was digging through, and as you can see, I was kind of starting to go this way, and then it jumped over here. But anyway, we do have gold, which is yay. So let's see real quick. And thanks to the sneaky sound mod, we're actually doing really good at not blowing everyone's eardrums out, which is also awesome. See, like this K, it's 2,000 kilograms. Okay, so I put in 1,000 kilograms, which is what, like a milligram? No, that would be the other way. I'm confused. I don't remember how metric works. Anyway, this is not a commentary on metric, it's a commentary on my understanding of it. I just don't remember what goes past kilo, because milli is like the other way, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, so you can see here that we've got a decent vein. I just don't know how much that's actually going to translate into, is the problem. But what I'm going to do is, since we don't have really too much of a stone deficit, I'm going to basically just be throwing out all this stone, as you could see up here, where I just have these like big boulders here. I might use the admin tools to just delete those.
Inventory full.
Because I don't really need them, and they're kind of just blocking my tunnel here. Unless I just dig around them and let them fall. I don't know. But, just make a bigger mine shaft here. Just let them tumble in. Try not to get smushed. I don't know if they can actually kill you or not if you actually dropped like a boulder on your head. Come on!
Inventory full.
They never fit through the tunnel. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing some mining and probably deplete this vein and then see what we end up with. But hopefully, my plan here is to get just enough that I can basically get one high yield module and then start using that refinery to refine the rest of the gold so that we can basically start increasing our returns with the same amount of ore, essentially. And then we'll go from there and hopefully end up with enough that we can make our jump drive. But I'm not holding my breath. Alrighty, so I actually have some really good news. It seems I was very badly mistaken in that we did not need as much gold as I thought to get our yield modules up and running, because apparently what the dummy doo-doo head that I am did was apparently I went into the blocks and went to yield, and I must have been holding control, because when I click it, it comes up with 200. I don't know if you had time to see that or not, but it came up with 200. They only need 20. So, didn't need 200. I'm sure a lot of you were going, what? No, what are you doing? But yeah, didn't need 200. They need 20. So, I made 2 of them because I had enough from that trip to do that, and then I used these 2 to get some more and then finish these off. And then I've done one other gold run, which gave me 254. Now, unfortunately, the downside is that we were not wrong about the jump drive. The jump drive still requires like 1,000. And if you can see here, it requires 733 gold. Now, we're up to 250. Which isn't bad, and that vein is much larger than I originally thought. So that's cool. So I've kind of been making runs over there. I kind of feel torn, because I could make like a moon miner, which I think is a fun name, because we're going to want to do that anyway for our huge massive excavation project here. I think what I'm going to actually do on a side note is turn the moon into my stone factory. That's what I'm thinking. Once we get to where the shooting star and stuff has a jump drive and we can kind of jump around a bit more, literally, I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to probably clear out spaces a bit more with removing the stone and not trying to mine it. And then I really think I'm going to make this big moon crater area the actual, like, excavation, like, have some ginormous drilling platform with, like, 100 drills by 100 drills or something. And it just basically goes down and cores the moon kind of thing, and then we just have stone for days. That's kind of the thought process. So I kind of feel like this moon base will be expanding little at a time. Though, I am kind of thinking I might want to make that drill miner thing an actual ship, not like part with pistons that retract and thing. I actually think I want it to have thrusters and things. So, I could go ahead and start working on that and then have it sent over to the gold area, but it's just kind of like, time constraints. I have to, get these videos done at X amount of time. So, I don't think we're going to wait on that, basically. I do have an assembler with 2 speed modules going as well, which is handy. I think I'm going to keep doing manual mining trips over to get the gold. I'm averaging, with this yield setup, I'm averaging about 120-ish, somewhere in there. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, each trip. So I don't think it'll take too many more trips, but it might take a few. I also have the storage crates finished, and I've been trying to somewhat migrate the inventory of the shooting star over here, but I don't want to strip it entirely because I do want some resources left on it for repairs. Now that's the other thing. I do feel like we need a better way to hook the star and the Exogorth up to the base, because right now they are not connected to the base, they are just connected to that little weird pedestal thing there. So that's kind of another thing that I need to consider, is how to get them hooked up. Now, I'm thinking, because this is going to turn into a mining ring, I'm considering figuring out a way to have the conveyors come out under here, and whether they run along the side. That's a lot of conveyors though, so I think what I may do is have it come out right here, which kind of makes sense. This is an airlock, you know, it would lead into the base, so I feel like that makes sense. So I'll probably run the conveyor line down and under, although, okay, with the star I'd have to basically do with the solar panels out that way. And that doesn't really help me with the Exogorth, but I think the Exogorth is kind of done at this point, because this is it's going to stay my shooting star space miner, but I don't think we're going to use it much more here. So I'm going to keep going with trying to gather up some of the gold, and basically what I've been doing, because it takes a long time for those yield modules to actually, it doesn't speed it up because they're not speed modules, so it takes a long time. As you can see with the platinum here, it's just kind of chipping away, but it takes forever. So I'm thinking what I'll end up doing is making little trips and then trying to continue to build out the base framework, as well as actually welding it up, because I'm kind of getting that syndrome again from last season, where we've got all these projects and we're not really finishing them because the outpost wasn't done, blah 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 blah. So I really think I'm going to start working on trying to make to actually weld up all this stuff, and see where that goes. So that's what I'm going to be working on in the meantime, but I'm going to make some more mining trips, and hopefully we can get enough ore, or gold, not ore. Hopefully we can get enough gold to make the jump drive. What I'm hoping is that we'll have the connection docking ports set up by the time we have the gold to do it, so that we can have the shooting star horizontally properly aligned, so that we can work on it, because I haven't actually explained it yet, but it's going to go here. The jump drive is going to go here on the back, and it's going to give it kind of a little bump, and then these turrets are going to go over here, one of those, I think it was over here that I had them in my creative design. So that's the idea. The design wasn't my absolute favorite, but I do think it worked, and it sticks with the overall theme of the shooting star and the style. I do feel like there's a little bit of a lemonade out of lemons approach to it, but you guys can make better assessments when I actually get the jump drive installed. So with that, I'm going to do some more mining and building, and I will see you guys momentarily. Okay, so good news. I think we actually have everything that we need to make the necessary modifications to the Mark III. As you can see here, this is the display. I've already moved the Gatling turrets to the back here. I have a projector set up so that we can see how it's going to look. So yeah, that's kind of the little bump that I told you about earlier. That's what it'll look like. And essentially I'm going to inset the jump drive into the bottom here. Now, one thing I'm not sure about... Okay, I can just build them. Now, I will have to make some modifications because I actually did this in creative and had the paint and color and textures, well, not the color, but the textures set up differently, which is why, if you'll notice, this seam is not connecting, because this is using the new sci-fi armor block, and this is the clean texture. So, yeah, there's that. I also modified these, it looks like. Try not to overdo it. So there's that. Oop, come on. You can do it, thank you. I didn't make too many other modifications. The only other things that I will probably do, but I may do it off camera, I'm not sure, is the ion thrusters. I switched them all to the newer Sparks of the Future ones, which I think are really, really cool. And I really like them a lot, so there is that. The only bad thing going on at the moment is this actually ended up, this whole project, not this, but this whole episode, as far as we've gotten a lot more done over here as well. I've got a lot more of the base actually, not only is it framed into where I think it will all be pressurized and sealed, but I've gotten a good chunk of it actually welded up. I got most of the floor parts underneath all of these welded up, so I didn't do directly, you can kind of tell right here, where the conveyor ports would line up. I don't know if that will prevent it from being sealed or not. I don't think so, but I'm not sure. But we did actually end up with enough superconductors and gravity components to actually make the jump drive. However, the only bad side, or downside about this, is that I basically have all but used up my reserves of iron and other resources. I've got some stuff left, but like we're almost completely, I think we are actually completely out of cobalt. So there is that, and I'm going to turn on the only show buildable to make things a little bit easier. I don't know, I guess I can always retrofit that. I was going to say, I don't know if that needs to actually be, I think it's 3x3, so that block should be fine where it is. I'm not sure. Okay, see, I'm out of steel. That's gonna be a problem. Not that it wouldn't take much to get the extra stone and stuff. I just meant we actually are getting low at the... we carved all this out and had just, like, pure excess of stuff. And we're actually getting a little bit on the lower side. So there is that. And it's kind of... it kind of shocked me a little bit. I was kind of surprised by that we actually went much farther... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Things are getting crazy over here. We actually went much farther on the building than I thought. Now this is going to be a problem as well. I'm running out of space in my inventory. I don't know why. Ever since they did the update, I think it was the Sparks of the Future update one. I'm not 100% sure if it was that update or the one before. I've had a few difficulties getting the welder to line up. Like, I have to point, like, out over here or get far away. I can't be, like, right up on it. Not every time, but sometimes, and it's very odd. It also looks like I may have... Yep, okay. So I retrofitted this, too. And that means that this one's probably not...
Inventory full.
Yeah, see, that's gonna be the problem. Freaking inventory. Okay. Okay. There we go. Come on. Come on. It's also difficult not building this in the right orientation that I'm, like, you know, floating or whatever. Okay, I think the rest of that should be fine. I'm trying to use up some of my steel because I see, like this, I can't get it to, I have to, like, step back. See, it's like it's not welding, and it should be, but you have to point at it in, like, a weird direction, and it's very odd. But I've only noticed that happening since one of the more recent patches. It hasn't been that way for, like, ever. So I'm not sure what that's about. But I digress. Weld! That's so annoying, actually. It's one of those things where it should be relatively simple, but it's not. It's kind of annoying. Yes, wait, is that not done? Wow, I never actually finished the bulletproof glass on that. That's funny. The things you learn when you're trying to retrofit your ship. And like I said, there were some areas you can see here where like there was a slope and then it kind of separated and stuff that I'm not 100% happy with this in terms of the design. Like the fact that there's cutoff points like this where I couldn't really get it to do anything that I wanted to do. Again, I kind of fault some of the limitations of the shapes in Space Engineers, that they don't give you a lot of different merge type shapes that we could have. So without going into modding and stuff, there was a limit to the kind of shape I could do. And I found that to be a little bit annoying, as just like this welding thing. But anyway, now before we get to...
Energy low.
Of course my energy's low. I have dealt with this. This has been a constant problem, like this entire episode while I was trying to mine and all that other stuff. But, so yeah, let me go ahead and finish this up real quick, and then we'll come back and I'll show off the actual ship when it's done. Okay, so I think we're actually done, believe it or not. Well, not quite done. I left this block open just so you guys could kind of see where I put the jump drive. It's in there, in that 3x3 space, and then I lowered it down into this section, so it's kind of a 2x3, I think, or 3x2. 3x3x2, I think, maybe? So, yeah, there's that. So we should be able to weld that up, and then I think it's done. Behold, the Shooting Star Mk3. And I went ahead and retrofitted everything with the new sci-fi ion thrusters because I think they look so much cooler. So now it does have a jump drive, which is pretty freaking awesome. I also made a few. Obviously, we've got the sci-fi armor panel instead of the clean. I thought that looked kind of cool, so I decided to go with that. I don't know if I were to go ahead and put this back. I thought about, this was something I messed around with, but I never really could get quite the look I wanted on the carbon fiber charcoal stuff. I thought about doing the neon. However, it looks kind of cool, but it has this really weird where it doesn't match up very well with the sci-fi armor plating, in my opinion. And if you do the colorable surface, then it ends up like super bright white lights, and I didn't like that as much either. And I thought about trying to switch to the blue panels being that, and I just couldn't quite get it to work. So I decided to go with the carbon fiber and keep it that way because honestly it meshes a little bit better with that sci-fi armor. Now, interestingly, on this, I did do the carbon fiber with the blue lights, and I think that lines up a little bit better than the sci-fi armor with the neon lights. So you guys can tell me what you think in the comments and whatnot, but I think this worked out pretty darn well. And yeah, so we've got a jump drive on it now. Interestingly, I find this oh, and I also did this. I'm happy about this. Check this out. The new sci-fi panels, and I even have it labeled so that you could turn this off and still know what you're doing. Which I think these are really cool. Really like these. And this is ironically the sci-fi, even though it's got the white lines on it. I do feel like if they were going to do this where all the, like, certain blocks just have the white lines on them, I kind of feel like you should have a separate panel to be able to color those. If, like, I get it if you put the neon skin on them and then you get the lines, but if you get the lines anyway, I feel like you should be able to color them, because I would like that to be, like, a bluish cyan tint or something to kind of match the decorum of my vessel. But I digress. Anywho. So there is that. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty darn well. The only other thing that... Was there any other things that I modified? I don't think there was. Oh, did I manually change this? I don't remember. It seems like... Oh, I think I did it through a script. Never mind. I was like, did I do that on the Mk3 one or not? I think I did that manually. Oh, that's a good point, me. I just thought of this. I need to actually change the ship name to the Mk3. There we go. The next step that I would like to do, I think, is I want to make... I'm not actually sure why I came in here, other than to show you guys the new panel here. I would like to, before or during the next episode, extend the conveyor port down here and come out with it, and then we can dock this properly. What I'm thinking is maybe bringing it out... Maybe replacing a couple of these with blast door blocks, and then essentially doing a piston or something so we can extend it out a little further, just so we're not like right up to the edge in case you've got a ship that's a little bit longer and may not fit. Though for the shooting star purposes, I think it would be fine. But there is that. So that's one thing that I want to do next time, although we are going to have to actually be concerned about materials at this point moving forward, which is kind of interesting. I didn't expect that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments as far as, again, do keep in mind that I won't probably be aware of them until the following episode, because of the whole Patreon release system, so do bear that in mind. But let me know what you guys think as to what our next move should be. Since we have a jump drive, should we just go ahead back to the outpost? Should we work on the moon base further and finish it? I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do in the meantime, but like I said, keep in mind that it may be an episode or two before I acknowledge any comments that you may or may not have had. Well, actually, I can't acknowledge anything you may not have said, but anyway... the other weird part about the jump drive was, although I did paste it in from a blueprint, I did build it through a projector. So it wasn't like I just copied and pasted it like in Creative. Yet, when I looked this up... Why is jump drive not showing up in my control panel? That was weird. Okay. It's actually fully stored power already, and the odd part is I don't think the batteries are, like, drained or anything. Where's current stored? Stored is 2.56. It could just be I had enough and it bled a little bit off of all 12 batteries. I don't know. But it's fully charged already, and I was like, okay, well that's cool, so that changed a little bit of what I was thinking. But anyway, I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.